Hey everybody, this is Mike Banner. Oh, now I'm back here. This is Mike Banner. I always goof that up at the beginning. Pick a camera, my producer just said in my ear. Just pick a camera, Mike. This is Mike Banner. What are we doing? With the host of 62 Who Knew. I almost said Professional Mortgage Alliance, Joe's Bar and Grill. But actually, it's our 39th week of 62 Who Knew. I want to give, as I always do, special thanks to last week's guest. Last week's guest was Mrs. Laura Banner, who came on to talk about, something that really does touch every family in the country, and that was Alzheimer's, early dementia, some real definitions of words and terms that I know I wasn't familiar with, and we learned a lot, and it was one of our most watched shows ever, and Laura has created an entire education platform around it, and it's just incredible. So if you want to go look back at last week's show, so you can contact Laura if you need her to speak at any of your national medical conventions. Her whole theory revolves around compassion. It's called compassionate education, and that disease is probably the disease that needs the most compassion.
Sure.
We can go wide angle now if you'd like. Of course, last week our co-hostess, the Puerto Rican princess, was moving, so she wasn't here, but she's back all moved in, and she only has 312 boxes left to unpack.
So true.
Maybe.
So true.
What did you say? You called last weekend. You were so proud. You made a pathway. You said in the garage.
I made a pathway through the garage. I was very happy with that.
I hate moving. And tonight's guest, I'm not going to introduce you yet. You can see him right here. I have to do a quick synopsis of what 62 Who Knew is. Our audience continues to grow. Obviously, in week one, we had a little over 3,000 viewers, which we were very proud of. And we're now averaging a little more than 22,000. And I'd like to say it's because of the great job that Nader and I do, but I'd like to say that, but I'd be lying. It's actually the quality of the guests that we have. We have had the #1 expert in the country on income annuities, Mr. Tom Hegner. Twice we have had the Weizmann Institute from Israel, a scientific institute that is responsible for so many of the pharmaceuticals that you take right now for updating CAT scans. They invented the first particle accelerator, the first thing on this planet to ever hit more than the speed of light, which is 186 million miles per second. Wow. That's quicker than a New York second. We have had real estate experts. No, we've never had a real estate expert, although we did have Miss Lisa Marie Kennedy, who is a Florida real estate expert.
She's amazing.
She is. I know you work with her on something else, on another publication of David Cribbs, who guest hosted our show on...
a couple months ago.
No, what... I just went blank. Contract Live.
Under Contract Live.
Under Contract Live.
Great show.
Oh, absolutely. You can pick it up on Facebook anytime. Okay, and but tonight, what I started to say was, and I lost my train of thought, is we keep bringing on national experts. Mark Goldberg, Bill Comfort, two of the literally most sought after long-term care insurance experts in the country. And today we are bringing on one of the greatest motivators, trainers, innovators in probably North America in the real estate community. And that would be this man right here, Mr. Johnny Lowey. Everybody, and the crowd goes wild. Yeah, for Mr. Johnny Lowey. Before we start talking about a few things, I'm going to give you just a little background. I met Johnny almost 2 years ago at an event of David Cribbs.
Yes.
And I was one of the speakers, but this man was the keynote speaker. And I'm sure you do this to people too.
Well, I was the keynote because the other guy didn't show up.
No, you weren't. Stop that.
Minute.
No, he wasn't. But, as a speaker, I'm very hard on speakers. So, I look at them, you've gone to enough things with me where I go, he's stuttering. I mean, does he get paid for this? Or he just said something that doesn't even make sense. We were at some. Oh no, I better not repeat that. Never mind.
You might upset somebody.
Yeah, I might upset a lot of people. Now, I was just going to tell you about something I said to you, and you went, "Yeah."
Everybody's wondering where.
I'm not saying
where were we at?
Yeah, but this man got up, and I'm standing there with my daughter Stacy.
Yep,
you
I
met
remember.
Stacy, and that was before you joined the company. And I'm looking, and he's on a very large chair right now, but this powerhouse is all but 5'2". 5'2". And I'm thinking, okay, this guy's going to come up and I got to sit through this crap till it's my turn to speak. And he started to speak. I turned around to my daughter, Stacy, and said, this is one of the best speakers I've ever heard in my life. Not just on real estate,
Thank you.
but the
Thank
emotion,
you.
the positiveness. I mean, you had 200 people when you were done speaking, ready to sell houses to people, and I didn't even care if they were realtors. They would have went out. There was a janitor there that was trying to put somebody on contract. No, you're not licensed. And Johnny said I can do this. Yeah. You listen to this man speak, and he changes directions of lives. So we brought him in tonight, really not to go that way, really not in your recruiting mode.
Sure.
We are going to let you loose a little the last few minutes of the show.
Careful.
But we do have to talk about the topic of this show, which is how is longer lifespans. People, my grandparents, they moved to West Palm Beach. They didn't move to Boca, which as Jews from New York, we had to get a special license from the government of Florida because I don't know if you know this, but
it's Del Rey now. Where
it's
you
Del
been?
Rey?
It's Del
back
Rey
then,
now.
that was the 80s. Back then, we had to move to Boca, but we got special dispensation from the governor of Florida, and my Jewish grandmother and grandfather moved to West Palm Beach to Crest Haven. It's still there, and it's huge. It's a huge planned unit development.
Community.
But they planned on dying there. That was my grandparents.
I gotcha.
Now, when you retire in your mid-60s, if you're fortunate enough to have the financial capabilities to retire in your mid-60s, and the odds of 50-50 you're going to live 90 to be 90, statistics say that you're going to move at least once, maybe twice during retirement. And that has definitely brought, I think anyway, a shortage for seniors in the specific houses that they need. And that's not my wheelhouse, that's yours. And we have a lot of things to talk about today, but what are you seeing in your 30 years? But before you answer that, I ask the same question of every guest. You know what that question is, right?
Yes, I do.
Why don't you ask that question?
How did you get started in real estate?
Yes. What brought you to this?
Oh my gosh.
Our phone's on.
Do you know, it's funny. I used to work for a company. How many of you guys out there remember the long distance company called MCI WorldCom?
Oh, yeah.
Do you guys remember that company?
It was a giant.
When you used to have to pay to call long distance, right? I was actually a sales trainer, Michael, and I used to train people how to make those calls. So we would be the guys that were on the phone, and we'd say, hi, Michael, I understand that you're calling to Israel. And I'm not saying that just because you're Jewish. I'm just picking it out of nowhere, okay? So you're calling Israel. I see you're currently paying 19 cents a minute through AT&T. With MCI, we could save you 3 cents a minute. So, Michael, with that 3 cents a minute savings, what could you do with that after a year's worth of calling? That was my job.
Right.
So what happened was, as MCI, when it was going through their buyouts and the changeovers with long-distance companies and cellular, I was working upstairs from a real estate company, and one of the guys there said, hey, you'd make a great realtor. And I said, well, how much money do you guys make? And he said,
this is your camera, by the way.
He said, we do okay.
Look at me, Nader, but if you want to look at the camera, that's
So that camera?
Yeah,
I got you. All right.
If you want, but you can look at us too.
They have all these cameras set up. I'm a little Italian guy. We don't know where to look. We just want to get out of the way in case something comes shooting across. Hey, I'm just saying. So this guy said to me, he said, hey, listen, he says, I know MCI is kind of going through some changes. He said, why don't you get your real estate license? I said, is there any money in that? And most of the times that people said, what are you going to go to school? What are you going to do? I was in college prior. I wanted to be a psychiatrist. Yeah, could you imagine that?
Yeah.
Tell me about your problems. Oh my gosh, you should drink more. I mean, so I thought I was going down that path, but I couldn't handle blood and anatomy and physiology, and I said, I got to do something different. So I dropped out of college, and I got this job at MCI, and then MCI was, changing hands. And then I got my real estate license, and I thought, man, this is going to be so awesome. I'm going to make all this money, and it's 63 hours of school. And I got in, and I got to tell you, my first year, it was the toughest year. I mean, if anybody knows real estate, you know that it's an entrepreneurial business. You got to self-generate your business. So my first year, I got in, I struggled and figured out a roadmap, and the rest is history. It was pretty awesome. So that's how I got in.
Do you ever have any, just out of curiosity, do you ever keep touch with that first person that said you should be a realtor? Because he obviously had no idea that he was letting loose the Elvis Presley of music here
by
bringing him on.
He actually, his name was Gordon Morgan, Colorado Springs. I started with him. He was the one who gave me the push to get in, along with another gal who was actually the #1 agent in Colorado Springs, Linda Sosby. I don't know if she's still around in the business.
Right.
But to answer your question, no, I don't keep in touch with them.
Wow.
I did talk to my first broker that I ever had about 8-9 years ago, and he said, I saw how well you're doing. He says, man, I'm really proud.
Good, that's so
and
cool.
I said, it was John Moore, he was the broker, and for McGinnis Better Homes and Gardens was the name of the company back in the day.
Better Homes and Gardens.
Yeah, that was my first
brokerage. The young kids don't
brokerage.
even remember that.
Oh my God, they're back now because
Yep.
they just went through their buyout and their 10-year non-compete.
It's not
so they're
Marie
back.
Powell anymore. Because it used to be, wasn't Marie
was one
Powell,
of them.
Better Homes and Gardens?
That
yeah.
was one. That was
Yeah.
one. So, but that's how I got in. That's who I went to work for. And, it's funny because a lot of people, even folks who are 62 and older who are retired, a lot of times we're in a changing career. We're trying to figure out what we want to do to be able to make some extra money and what the options are. And real estate becomes a viable option. Later on in the show, I'd love to chat and talk a little bit about that.
So what have you seen over the last 30 years? I mean, it's got to be so much different, the trends and how they're changing.
I'm losing my hair here. I got hair. Oh, wait, you don't mean with...
Yes.
Oh, you don't mean with me.
Not with
oh, you mean with the market.
In the real estate
I was gonna
market.
tell you, I got pain where I don't even realize I ever had
That's my
pain
life.
before.
Yes.
So, with the real estate market, I mean, I got to tell you, you said it perfect. We had the conversation. He said people are living longer, and older ages. And when 20 years ago, I was in my 20s. Who the heck cared? People were talking about living longer. I was like, Now I'm getting close to the 50, and I look at this and I say, what is the federal government doing to induce more housing for 55 and older to be able to accommodate this age group that obviously is living longer lives? I don't know that there are as many programs set up for national home builders to entice them to build 55 and older communities. I think that, obviously everybody's, hey, the president should do this, the president should do this, and I'm not getting on any rants or anything like that. But by all means, I don't think that we're concentrating enough on 55 and older communities.
You're absolutely right.
I'm not even 55. I want to live in a 55-year-old community.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
I don't want bicycles running into my car.
Right. They're not like they were.
I know.
Yeah.
So, and they got activities. Did you ever go to the villages? If you ever get a chance,
my God.
Google the villages of Lady Lake. This is like Disneyland for seniors.
Well, it's reverse mortgage heaven.
It's reverse mortgage heaven. It's amazing.
But I don't know how to play pickleball, so I don't think I'm allowed up there.
Oh my gosh, you're too funny.
We got to
love
learn
it.
how to play pickleball.
Do you know when I went to go play pickleball, I literally showed up with a jar of Vlasic pickles. I said, I'm here. I said, I'm here. They said, what are you doing? I said, I'm here for pickleball.
The court is so messy, though, after you get done.
I'm telling you.
So, really and truly, you've hit on something that I've never heard anybody else say, and you're known for that. In our mortgage world, we have 3.5% down from FHA,
Sure.
3% down from Fannie Freddie. We have all sorts of gift programs. We have all sorts of government.
And if you got credit problems, I know Mario. He lends you a little bit of money. You might lose a leg, but
you got to make the payments.
But
there's all this great stuff out there for first-time home buyers, and with 10,000 people a day turning 62 years old in this country, where's the greatness for the senior home buyers?
It's true.
I mean, really and truly.
It's true. It's true. And it's not. If you look at what these communities are becoming, it's not like the communities of 20 years ago.
No. It's not shuffleboard.
No, it's not. I mean, I got to tell you, my dad's community, I love this place. I mean, the guy's got everything going on. He says, John, did you see? They got volleyball here.
Yeah.
I said, volleyball? I said, Dad, please don't play volleyball.
Yeah.
He goes, no. He says, Lillian and Sonia, they want to play volleyball. I don't think they know what volleyball. They think it's catch over the net, and they
That's
just
okay.
catch it.
That's right.
But it's okay.
That's right.
but they're doing wood shop classes. They build mechanic classes. My mother-in-law lives in a community that we go down. They do more stuff than I've ever done growing up. Yeah. These are the communities that people want to live in. These are active adult communities. But if you start looking and you look for new home building communities with all your national builders, you'll be hard-pressed to find very many that are building and catering to that clientele.
There's such a, let's face it, they're a brilliant industry.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yet they have to know 10,000 people a day are turning 62 years old for the next 19 years. It's not just reverse mortgage people that know that. Why aren't they catering to that? I mean, in Florida, I could think of one reason, maybe the lack of land.
Right.
I mean, we are kind of running out of land.
Well, there's plenty of swampland.
Yeah, there's plenty of swampland.
Come on, a little bit of fill dirt. We'll call it Cocoa Beach, number 2.
That's right. That's exactly. Well, if everybody actually knew that Florida was actually just a bunch of.
Did you know Cocoa Beach was? That's how Cocoa Beach came to be.
I know. Isn't that amazing? Don't tell them. We'll get sued by the Chamber of Commerce at
Cocoa Beach is an amazing place.
Crazy, and named after cocoa.
Place.
Yeah,
yes.
So talk to us about really and truly the way things are. Builders are trying to get into this market. They're making a conscious effort. But how about, builders build...
But they're getting buried by communities that are really specializing in that. What happens is it seems that you have places like Sun City Center, Villages of Lady Lake. You have,
Now, these are, to our viewers out of Florida, these are very popular subdivisions and planned unit developments in Florida that he's mentioning.
Citrus Hills Development, the community of Citrus Hills, Villages of Citrus Hills. These are all 55 and older communities.
Look at Trinity.
But exactly. But Trinity is not. But it's not specifically all for 55. What I find is that a lot of communities, they're either all 55, or the builder will take a very small section and say, this is a 55, but it doesn't necessarily have all the amenities that they would expect, or they have to share the amenities with the rest of the community. This is why people are flocking to places like Sun City Center, to Kings Point, to Villages of Lady Lake. All of these places become very attractive for senior living. I'm not kidding. I literally, my wife and I went down to Sun City and Villages of Lady Lake.
Oh, it's incredible.
It's beautiful. I said to my wife, I said, I want to live here. She said, well, will you get older quickly? And we can't wait to become 62 so we can buy more house than really we should be buying, and we have no mortgage payment.
That's right.
I'm telling you.
I know somebody that could arrange that for you.
I got to live a long time. I got to live a long time. My wife's younger than me. If I don't live a long time, I don't want her to enjoy the house for too long, okay? I got to live a long time.
You do. You're going to.
So do you see there's a shortage then for the people that are 55 and older?
I do.
For like what they really want?
Do you know, I do see that there's a shortage because there's not a lot of availability if you're looking to be in that type of exclusive type of environment. But I go back to, I've got a builder in my office. We've got Kevco Homes we work a lot with. They're right there located in our office. They're a custom on-your-lot builder. And I talk with Joe Zeiler, who is the owner of the company, and he builds a fantastic home. And I mentioned to him, about the potential opportunity of building 55 and older, but I'm going to approach the subject a little further. But I'll tell you, the government's got to be able to give these builders some sort of an incentive to create communities like that, because I think it's not even becoming that it's a way of doing business and building a 55 and older community. It's really, in my opinion, a public service.
It is.
You have to be able to provide housing, and you want to go in a community that
that you're going to feel comfortable in.
Yes.
And let's face it, and thrive.
Yes.
My parents, because I'm a generation older than both of you, my grandparents, they didn't retire to thrive. I mean, they wanted to have a good retirement.
Sure.
But it was shuffleboard and bocce.
Yeah.
That's really what it was.
It was.
There was nobody going to the casino, going to the mall.
That's right.
I got to tell you, even though this was a beautiful place, the clubhouse was a glorified triple wide trailer.
Sure.
And now they're building. You go to Trinity into these
with a swimming pool.
Yeah. And now you go to Trinity or you go to the Villages, into these multi-million-dollar clubhouses.
They're beautiful.
Yeah. And what's going on? 4 or 5 pool tables, billiard tables, poker rooms. I mean, it's incredible. They're going there to thrive.
Do you know, I got to tell you, when look, I got all Italian on them. I got to tell you.
Tell me.
So my wife and I go down. I said, we got to go and see your mother. I said, she's all by herself. Her husband had passed away. And I said, we got to go down and see your mom. And she said, that's good. And we go down, and her mom, this is, obviously, it's, a year and a half. And I visited her mom, and we go to the clubhouse, and she's in a woodworking shop class, and she's making a birdhouse or something else. And then we asked her if we were going to be able to go to dinner. She says, no, I have this class at the clubhouse I got to go to. And I looked at my wife, and I said, baby, I feel so bad. I said, your mom seems so lonely and bored.
Yeah, really, yeah.
I was like, your mom has more of a life than we do.
Yeah.
She does more than we do. But these are the type of communities. I mean, and a lot of them have medical facilities located right on site.
Absolutely.
I don't think enough communities are going in that direction. It seems to be it's either assisted living or 55 and older.
Yeah, there's nothing in between anymore.
Yeah, and I think if the government can step in and give some tax benefits and breaks to these builders and developers to be able to put something that's kind of a hybrid community. What do you guys think? Do you think there should be a hybrid community?
Yeah, why don't you go to 62whoknew.com and give an opinion?
Yeah, and you should also get 62 and who could remember.
And who can remember? Well, that was last week's show on Alzheimer's. Yes.
Oh my God, I didn't mean anything by that.
That's why I said
I
it.
apologize.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well,
I think my car's on fire.
No, it's okay.
Sit back down.
No, it's okay. I really do think it is kind of amazing. Again, I'm repeating myself, but with 10,000 people a day turning 62 in this country for the next 19 years, that a mortgage company like ours or a bigger mortgage company or a bank has 10 different options for first-time home buyers. And really, other than a traditional mortgage, like a 65-year-old really wants a 30-year mortgage.
That's right.
That makes a lot of sense. Other than a reverse mortgage, what is an option for a senior? And I never get political. I try not to get political on the show. But I don't want.
And I wasn't.
Yeah, no, that's okay. My guests are allowed to do whatever they want. But I don't want government involvement in many things. But they should be giving something to builders to say, look, if you're planning a PUD, which I've said before, that's not a bad word. It's PUD, planned unit development, and there's going to be 600 homes. Why don't we take 25% of them? Because right now, 1 out of 7 people in this country are 62 years old.
Wow.
In 2 years, it's going to be 1 out of 6. In 3 years, it's going to be 1 out of 5. America is coming of age.
Wow.
So where today it's a niche, it's not going to be a niche soon. It's going to be a real world.
Right.
And that's what we're approaching.
Agreed.
So tell me about, okay, no, go ahead.
And just think about it, too. If they go into these developments where they're having such a great time and everything, what do you think it's going to do? They're going to have a longer lifespan.
Oh,
again,
when they're happy.
Making that situation even worse with shortage of homes and everything.
Yeah, which is
great, though, but they'll have a great life. But so we do need to concentrate on making more 55 and older communities.
There's no doubt as we live past 90, 95, and 100, and some people watching may be going, come on, is he
going
kidding?
for 100.
Yeah, well, you're probably going to make it because the medical breakthroughs that have come out in the last 2 to 3 decades have been staggering.
Right.
But what we're going to see in the next 2 to 3 decades is going to dwarf what we have seen.
Hey, watch
today.
it on the dwarf
I'm
statement.
sorry about that. Okay. Is going to make what we. It wasn't a short person joke. I'm sorry. It was just a little joke. Don't bring me there. That's
Do you
not
know
good.
why I'm going to live longer? Because my heart doesn't have the blood
That does
push the
actually
blood
make
that
sense.
high.
I think there's some medical validity to that,
Maybe.
isn't it?
I'll take it either way.
Either way. No, I think that we're going to have to, if not as a government, because I have no confidence in our government in either side of the aisle. Let me be very vanilla about that.
Sure.
Let me be very Switzerland about that. I have no confidence in either side of the aisle. But I think I'm confused why the big boys, the big builders, and I'm not going to name them because everybody knows who they are. I think we're going to need 55 and over communities.
Yep.
I really think we're going to need 75 and over communities in the next decade. Because that 75-year-old...
That's actually... I've never, ever, ever thought about that until you said it.
I don't know why we wouldn't if we're going to start living to be 95.
Yeah.
Because, realistically, and I think I'm saying this because I'm going to be 50 soon, but,
I'd pay real money to be 50
50's the new 40, right? 60's the new 50, and so on and so forth.
Not in my case. 60's the new 86. That's how I feel right now, but it's okay.
So I don't know. I don't know if that's a bad idea. I think maybe you're onto something. Because 75 and above would require, obviously, a little bit different on the amenities.
Not worse. They're going to be active according
Absolutely.
to the the Weitzman Institute.
But maybe we pull the bungee jumping out of the community
really
amenities.
I
mean,
and take away the
just 55 to 75 is probably okay.
Absolutely.
And skydiving, 75 and 75 above, skydiving's okay.
I could see 50 to 75 planned unit developments, quite frankly, having a hospital or an internal.
Yes.
Not because they're going to be fragile. I mean,
Maybe not a
I know
hospital, but
75-year-olds that can run circles around me.
Yeah,
so I'm not being insulting here towards
maybe an
that.
urgent care, a walk-in clinic of some sort.
Viagra dispensers. I mean, they need to be there.
It's like the new gumball machine.
That's
you
right.
put in a
Boom.
coin.
Except they're all blue.
It's all good.
You can't go up and go, I want a red one. That's speed. You can't do that,
The
Grandma.
yellow one is longer.
Why did Grandma throw her walker away? Look at the way she's running. She got a red gumball.
Yeah, she's running
Why
from
are
Grandpa.
we digressing? This is his
We're
fault.
running from Grandpa.
Yeah, this is, yes. Grandpa throws the walker, it just goes.
Oh, my gosh. My dad, I'm telling you, I love where my dad lives.
Where does Dad live?
Dad lives in Heritage Lakes, right in Newport
Oh, my
Richey.
God, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's right over here. So it's nice and close. He's in a nice community, but he's got the clubhouse, but he doesn't have any medical facility or any kind of assistance there. And do you know what I found weird? I know this is out of nowhere, but he lives in a retirement community, 55 and above, and they don't let him have a dog.
No, I don't like that.
That's crazy.
I don't like that.
I said, Pop, what do you mean they don't let you have a dog?
No, you need a dog.
He goes, they won't let you have a dog. And so
That's
he had to
very
get
weird.
a letter from his doctor. Yeah, I know. You guys are all saying, well, just have his doctor write it. And he did. But I thought that was kind of crazy. I thought, wow.
Well, let's talk about HOAs just for a second. You probably deal with them more than we do. But, they need to start getting a little more picky about who they put on the HOAs.
True.
I mean, how often do we get a call from somebody that I won't say is in great need for a reverse mortgage, but it would certainly help the quality of their life. And you go to the HOA and say, I need a copy of your budget. I need a copy of your care. Simple things. And they go, we're not doing that.
Michael.
That should be against the rules.
I've been in the business for 28, almost 30 years. You know the kind of business I do.
Mm-hmm.
When I went to your reverse mortgage class, I said to you, no, I'm not into the reverse mortgages. Mm-hmm. I remember how they were back in the day.
Right.
And when you showed me the new platform, I thought, I said to my dad goes, but I don't need to do anything. I said, Dad, I know you don't need to, but if we can free up I think you freed up 40% of his equity of his house. Yeah. And now he goes, what am I going to do with all this money? I said, I don't know. Thailand?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Anything.
I don't know what he could do.
Or just let it sit.
He doesn't travel. So.
Yeah, well, we need to get him to travel.
I was trying to get him to travel. Yeah. I said, don't you want to go to Italy? He said, I'm not the Italian one. That was your mother. Mm-hmm. So...
That's how it is a lot, isn't it?
It's true. He was the Jewish one.
When did you lose your mom?
It was a mixed community, mixed family.
When did you lose your mom?
66.
Oh, my God.
Yep. So
she died very young. Sorry about that.
Very, very young. Yeah. That's okay. I say she always wanted to watch over everyone, and now God gave her the ability to be able to watch over everyone. She always was trying to keep a high and make sure everybody was good and everybody was happy, and now she gets to do that. So.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely she does. How old is Dad?
Dad is 85.
God love him. That's incredible.
He's 85. He's a little crotchety, but he's my old man, and I love him.
Hey, I'm 60 and I'm crotchety.
I keep trying to get him to match up. He goes, I've already had 2 wives. I don't want to go. I said, Dad,
3's a charm.
Make this one different.
Yes.
So I take him to the gym, and he kind of likes it. And
that's very cool.
I can't get him to focus though. He starts. I said, "Are you paying attention? I'm trying to show you how to do the exercise." He says, "I'm trying to make sure that young lady over there is doing her exercise." I said, "Pop, focus.
That's why he's 85.
Focusing.
So let's go to general real estate for a while. I mean, most certainly your wheelhouse. And of course, we're in Florida, which is the retirement capital of the country.
God's waiting room.
Yeah, God's waiting room. I always say the average age of a person in Florida is about 112. So, but what do you do when
It's a great place.
I never really asked this question. I know your company, Line Right Realty, so well. Again, along with 75 and over communities, I'm a little surprised that major real estate companies, haven't aligned themselves, and maybe they haven't, I don't know it, with remodelers,
right?
Contractors that will come in and go, look, the first person that owned this house was in their 40s with 3 children. The second person owning this house is 72, and we need to move those cabinets down.
Sure. And
we need the master bedroom on the first floor, not the second floor. We need a walk-in tub.
We actually have in-house contractors that we use. So when my dad purchased this place, it had a regular bathtub, but he had trouble stepping into the bathtub. So our contractors came in before he actually closed on the property. They gave a look, saw exactly what it was going to cost. They gave my dad a price and said, this is what it'll cost to change it out to a walk-in shower and make it nice. And they put a seat, a tiled bench in there. So
any bars by any chance by the toilet?
They did. They put bars and trapeze bbars up above, too. So if he feels like it, he can do tricks.
Casey finds that young,
it's really awesome.
Casey finds that young girlfriend you were talking about from Thailand.
I want him to. He just won't go out.
If you have a trapeze, it's much easier.
I said you got to go out and meet people. So anyway, but being able to do that, there are a lot of real estate companies, I'm sure there's others besides myself, that when we work with a client, we want to be able to have the big picture. Make sure that they've got all the amenities, because sometimes it's not just about finding the perfect house in the perfect neighborhood. Sometimes the house needs those things to make it perhaps handicap accessible. If you've got somebody that's inside the house that walks with a walker or a wheelchair, we have to think about putting in a ramp. A lot of times, people who are in the home buying process, they know they can do it. They just want to get pricing on it before they close on the property and get a reasonable expectation. So we provide them 3 different contractors so they can get quotes and make an educated decision on what they want to do. But that gives them freedom so that they don't have to be so concerned with finding a house that's set up 100% to their needs, that we're able to come in, show them a house, say, hey, is this a community you like? Because first, 3 most important words of real estate, right? Location, location, location. You got to make sure they're in the right spot. Then if you can find a house that majority fits your needs, we can go ahead and see how can we make that the perfect house. And that's what we tried to do. We wanted to just be a little bit different company than what your average company was. I mean, we're up against some of the real estate giants in the state, in the country. Yeah, I mean, so we're trying to compete. We're trying to offer a better value and a better service to especially seniors.
Yeah, and we're going to definitely talk about that in the last 15 minutes of the show. So you have 250, 300 agents?
Close to 300 if you take Florida and Maryland.
Right. If you had to guess, and I won't hold you to this, because we always kid about the age of Florida.
Sure.
But the truth is, we have a lot of newlyweds. We have young people.
Oh my gosh.
We have people coming here for lower taxes than New York.
That's right. There's
New
no
Jersey,
state
California.
income tax.
No state income tax.
You move to Florida. Think about it this way. If you folks live anywhere else outside of the state of Florida, you move to Florida, you save yourself 10 to 15% in state income tax. It's like giving yourself a raise by 10 to 15%.
There's no doubt about it.
It's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. What would you think, and you might have an answer, you might have to guess, what is the average age of one of your clients, let's say when you have X amount of closings in a month?
I'd say average age, probably in their late 40s, early 50s. I would say is probably the average.
So you got
age.
your share of 20s and 30s and your share of 70s
Absolutely.
and 80s.
Do you know, it's funny when we talk about, now this is a little bit opposite for the show, because it's 62 who knew, okay? 25, you didn't know anything.
Right.
So 25 should be 25 and younger.
25 and nothing but jive, yes.
Yeah, should be.
I have a rhyme for every decade.
25 and under, you didn't know.
That's right. That's exactly right.
But the age group of 18 to 25 who are buying their own homes now, and over the last 10 years, is up 200 to 300% every single year. So when you look at that, I think just more and more people are becoming educated about home ownership, and it's a great opportunity, especially for investing. I mean, shoot, you talk to folks who have all their money tied up in different investments. I say, you know what? One of the best investments, real estate. I mean, I know everybody says, oh, that market's going to crash again. Hey, listen. I've got friends and family who bought property before the market crashed, went through the market crash. Their house was worth less during the market crash.
And now they're back.
But now it's worth more again. So the market comes back. It's like a roller coaster, right? It's up, it's down, it's up, it's down. if you buy the property right and you hold on to it and you sell it at the right time, you're going to make your money. So now I think more and more people are looking about investment opportunities in real estate because they can earn 10, 12%, sometimes even higher on their money. And it's hard to find that with a lot of other investment opportunities.
There's been a lot of speaking, I know, in my circles, with the new tax laws taking away a lot of the interest benefit of owning a home. And sometimes your standard deductions are better than taking the interest on your home with the new tax laws.
But with an investment property, you get to write everything off.
Well, not only that, you can't beat the...
Please see your tax accountant whenever it comes to tax advice. Right. We are not giving you tax advice on today's show.
Perfect disclosure. But, when I've been actually thinking about sometimes, but I'm going to buy this summer because I'm renting now. If the tax break isn't there, there is an entire group of millennials that are going, why should we ever own? I mean, I read about this all the time. Yes, I might have to pay a ridiculous amount of rent that is slightly higher.
But it doesn't pay.
Well,
still doesn't pay.
And the value that's being built is going to your landlord.
That's exactly right.
That's what I'm trying to get across to a lot of my younger prospective buyers.
I told my nephew this. My nephew just bought a house. And I said, Danny, listen, every year, the market's going up on average, depending on where you live, 3 to 5%. I said, if you look at it and say, well, let's pick 4%, just pull in the number.
That's the average we always use.
Yeah.
So if you figure 4%, every year your money is gaining 4% interest every year, and they get to live there rent-free, right? Because all the money that they're paying, they're getting to take that as a deduction on their taxes for the interest. They're gaining equity by the time they sell. It's like a savings account. I look at the houses, it's a big-time savings account.
Well, yeah, people don't realize that 4% is 4% compounding.
Sure.
The house that's worth $200,000 is worth $208.
Yep.
It doesn't go up 4% of 200 the next year. It goes up 4% of 208.
That's exactly right.
So 4% compounding over 10, 12 years. That's a retirement account.
It is. I just talked to a client, and he said, Johnny, what kind of deals are coming along? And I said, you know what? I just found a 1-bedroom, 1-bath condo that's over by the beach off of Gandy, literally walking distance from the beach. He said, how much? I said, I can get you in for $65,000. I said, the property's probably worth about $80,000. Yeah, I know, $65,000. The problem is it's tough to finance because you need a $50,000 loan amount, right? So, do you know a good mortgage guy?
I could do that.
Do you know a good mortgage guy?
Yes.
So $65,000, and I got a tenant in there that's going to pay $11.50 for it in place right now. So he looked at the numbers. $300.
He's going to have positive cash flow.
He's going to have positive cash flow. What's the $50,000 mortgage going to be on it?
Oh my God, $300 a month in rates today.
You're $300 a month. Now you add your $300 for your HOA.
It's $600.
He's $500 in cash flow.
Even.
He's $400 in cash flow every month on his money.
Yeah.
Where is he going to make that kind of money?
That's right.
So, these are the things that people should be looking for as well. And, not for nothing, do you ever talk to folks on the show? Because I'm assuming most of your viewers are older or
we get
not?
a lot of comments on our website. We try to call in show twice in a row, and it just didn't work well. I don't know if it was the time of the night, Monday.
But mostly seniors, yes?
We looked at the demographics with John. Surprisingly enough, it's like 45 to 65. I would have thought it was older.
Do you know, though? But 45 to 65, here's the thing. At 45 to 65, you're usually what? Retiring from your job, right?
Well, at 65. At 45, you're still working.
Well, but if you started in your job at 20 and you put in 25 years, maybe you could retire, and then you're starting to think about something else to do.
Absolutely.
Well, I think if folks are out there and they're thinking, what can I do? Maybe I want to do a second career, or maybe I just want to make a few bucks, right? Get your real estate license, folks. Listen, depending on the state you live in, okay, Florida, I think, is 63 hours. Colorado was 106 hours, I think it was.
Oh, my God.
It's nothing. It takes no time. I got a buddy of mine who owns the Tampa School of Real Estate. I've known these guys for 20-plus years. I actually have their school in all of my real estate offices. But think about it this way. You talk about, and you've had guests on that talk about investment annuities and all of these things that people can do, right? Well, what if, because, most folks, my dad is on a budget,
Most retirees are on a fixed budget.
Most retirees are on a fixed budget. What if they got their real estate license they could do it, and you say, how long? 63 hours, maybe it's 100 hours. You could do your real estate license, folks, literally and I'm not an instructor. I don't teach pre-licensing or anything like that. I teach you how to make money after you get your license. But, they get their license. They can do it in a couple of weeks, 2, maybe 3 weeks, Michael. And now every house sale that they do could be worth anywhere from $5,000, $6,000, $8,000, $9,000. What if they did 2 or 3 home sales a year? Not anything to bust their butt.
Yeah, they're
right?
not out of doing door knockers.
You're not gonna, hitting the pavement, making all. That's not what I'm suggesting. But if folks considered an opportunity like that, and they can pull 3 houses a year, that's an extra 20 grand in their pocket. Maybe that's the trip to Israel or the trip to Italy, or
it's helping the grandchildren,
or helping the grandkids, or anything. There's so much opportunity that I think that if you're in a change of careers, or if you're just sitting around the house and you're driving your wife crazy, or vice versa, get your real estate license.
Yeah, you're
come, I'll train you.
I've known you long enough and done enough research on you. You've been groundbreaking your entire 30 years, but you really are bringing up something a lot like a line right. We only have 16 minutes left. Did I tell you this hour goes so quickly?
Flies by.
And I do want you to talk about a line right realty and how it's changing the landscape of real estate. But for 3-4 minutes, you bring up a very interesting point, because if I, as a career mortgage person, want to say there's a problem with real estate and mortgages,
right?
The industries. What is the problem? A bunch of part-timers that don't know what they're doing that screw up the process.
I don't agree with that.
Well, here's what
I think. Even if you're
bringing
part-time
something
in the
up.
business, whether you're doing 3 or 4 deals, just be a professional when you do them. You can do 3 or 4 deals a year and look like a total rock star and do it the right way. But I will tell you, a lot of folks who do it part-time in the business don't care about doing the right job because it is part-time. So I don't look for folks
no,
like
but
that.
when I'm
They don't
thinking
get the proper training.
I say,
they don't have you as a
listen,
trainer,
you
that's
want
for
to
sure.
do part-time real estate, I'm okay with that, but you're a window that they see my company through. And now, Line Right Realty, we've made a huge splash in the Tampa market. We're open 18 months, and we're 230 agents here in Tampa. That's a lot in 18 months.
Before I let you loose on a line right.
No.
I want to continue, because I think you've really hit on something here. The young part-time realtor, and when I say young, I'm talking 25 to 35, whose spouse or significant other makes a lot of money and doesn't really have to do this. They goof things up. I think you've hit on a class, that's a terrible word, but I'm going to use it because it's the right word, a class of people.
Yes.
As a second career, they would take pride in their 3 or 4. A retired school teacher, a retired policeman, a retired fireman. You talk about people that work 20, 25 years, got a pension. Those are those type of people.
Yeah. I sit with folks and they say, I want to do it part-time. I said, you want to goof around in the business, or do you want to actually... And
I
this
think
is what
you may have hit
folks
on a clientele that could be incredible.
Do you know, here's the thing. I tell folks, I say, listen, like I have a couple of folks who live down in Sun City and Kings Point, a couple of agents, and a couple of new people that I just ran into and said, hey, you're in real estate. And folks said, I've always thought about getting into the business. And I say, hey, this is who you call. This is how much the classes are. It's so inexpensive to get your license in real estate. So once we do that, the clarity is, as I tell them, I say, listen, if you only want to do 3 to 4 deals, let me show you how to do those 3 to 4 deals in the first quarter, get that money in the first quarter, and take the rest of the year and spend it. Spend it. Have fun.
Yeah,
right?
You have hit on something here that could be an untapped market.
Professionally, take the business serious. If it's 4 deals or 40 deals, take it serious because that's what they're not going to remember the agent who did a bad job. They're going to remember my company.
That's exactly right.
I want to make sure. So that's the only thing we ask, take it serious.
No, I think you have hit on something here, because I think that type of person that is looking for that second career, and you've heard me say this before when I do my reverse mortgage stick, that doesn't want to stand in front of Walmart and say, would you like a cart? Oh. Not that I have disrespect for that. Nothing.
Some of them are my favorite
but
people.
Respect for that. Or be in Burger King, or whatever.
See, he makes fun that I recruit, but
No.
I have recruited 2 Walmart greeters into the real estate business.
They're
As I
nice
said,
people.
You're approaching total strangers, and they always say, well, I'm paid to do that. I say, well, I can pay you better to sell
lot
real
more.
estate for that
Yeah.
and have you work less and have a better quality of
And
life.
they get an orange shirt instead of a blue vest. I like your orange shirt much better
Oh my
than a blue
gosh.
vest.
I got a gentleman who's retired. He's almost 80 years old. And I said, what are you going to do with the commission checks? He said, I'm going to buy a new Corvette.
I love this guy.
I knew you would love this
guy. Are you going
guy.
to introduce me? I'm going to do his
Oh my
mortgages.
gosh.
How much time do we have left, John? Oh my God, 12 minutes, and I need 3 minutes to say goodbye. So in 7 minutes, and Johnny barely can say hello in 7 minutes. I've said this before. You've heard me
I'd like
say
to
it.
say you're kidding.
You've heard me say it. Being a mortgage person for 37 years, I was here when Keller Williams came to Florida. Remax, of course, Century 21.
All
I've been
good
around
companies.
since I'm little. Yes, all great companies,
companies.
legends in the exit real estate. I don't
Yep.
want to leave anything out. There are some newcomers now coming. You have created something with Align Right like I have never seen in my 37 years.
Thank you.
I think you and I were just discussing this. We've spent some serious time with each other the last couple of weeks, not just preparing for this, but some other ventures that you'll probably come back soon and announce. You're the key part of this. I mean, if we could clone you, Align Right would have,
That'd be awesome.
a million of the 2 million real estate agents out there. But you do make the difference in this. But usually we don't sell on 62 Who Knew.
Sure.
We educate. But in your particular case,
I'm not going to
No, I want you to. Because we do have real estate people watching.
Sure.
And you don't just do it for Align Right. You are also a national trainer in your own right. I've never seen anybody that owns their own real estate franchise openly say to realtors that work somewhere else, I'll teach you how to do it right. You're the first person I've ever seen do that. Tell us what makes Align Right different. Tell us what makes your training different. In 7 minutes, please. No pressure.
We were looking, no pressure.
Time's up. No.
Thank you for coming. When we were looking at opening up a new real estate model, we looked at it from a standpoint. I worked for one of the top 10 national brands in the country, and I worked for them for almost 10 years being a national sales trainer. My job was to go all over the country and to train everyone from regional owners. Regional owners were guys who owned state franchise rights, who were selling franchise opportunities to brokers. So I would train with those guys how to be able to run a successful region, get their brokers to be able to work as a team. In addition, training brokers how to run successful brokerages, and then, of course, spending time with their agents. Generally speaking, I would go in, work with a region for a month's time. Well, I resigned from that company almost 4 years ago, and everybody said, why you leave? And they're all looking for dirt on the company. And I said, it was a fabulous company. I love the company. They said, well, why'd you leave? I said, my roots just outgrew the pot I was growing in. And what I saw was missing from the industry, Michael, was, there were 2 types of companies. There were split companies who, if you went to work for a split company as an agent, they would take a percentage of your transaction. And that was one type of real estate brokerage concept. The other was 100% concept, where they would pay you 100% of your money, but they wouldn't really provide you a whole lot. They said, we're giving you all your money, but, hey, what more could you ask for? So what I found is when I owned my other real estate company, agents would come to work for me to get all the training, all the coaching, all the mentoring, learn how to do the business, because I was a split company at the time. And then they would leave me, and guess where they would go?
100%.
To the 100% company.
Right.
So it was this cycle. I used to say my company was the training company for 100% companies. I said, I got to change this concept. So I created a hybrid model called Align Right Realty, alignrightrealty.com. And I started it a year and a half ago.
It's up on the screen now.
Oh, how awesome.
Yeah.
So we created this platform, and I said, you know what? I'm going to give agents 100% concept where they can make 100% of their commission, but I'm going to give them the 5 essentials. And what were the 5 essentials? They wanted great training. They wanted to be branded so that people would know how to find them so that they could get more business. They wanted great technology, cutting edge technology. They also wanted leads. And they wanted a great culture. They wanted to work in a place that felt like family, not cutthroat. Most real estate environment offices are quiet. Everybody's to themselves. You walk into our office, it's a whole different environment. When you walk in, it acts as not only a place of business, but it's social environment, very family oriented, and that's what we wanted to create with Align Right Realty, was that social environment. I wanted to be able to take folks who were changing careers at age 62 and wanted to get their real estate license, that they could not only feel good about getting into the business, but have someplace fun that it was to go to work, and there was togetherness and activities going on. So, you know, when it comes to this, we felt training was essential. So we loaded up our training calendar. In fact, folks, if you're ever thinking of getting into real estate, if you go to alignrightrealty.com and you scroll over to Agent Corner, you can actually see our training calendar. It's updated. Matter of fact, can I invite them to come to a training class?
No, of course. I want you to.
Come to a training class. If you're thinking about getting into real estate, but you don't want to take the plunge to get your license, go to Align Right Realty, scroll over to agents, scroll down to agent calendar for our training calendar, pull it up. If you want to go to a training class just to see what realtors go through, come. You come as my guest. Okay. So with that, we provide training every day. Every week we do prospecting workshops. So we teach people how to go out and get business. It's a lot of fun. It's really a lot of fun.
You actually go out with them too,
We
don't
do.
you?
Yeah,
We
this is
do.
isn't that
I mean, it's
amazing?
amazing.
We
It
take
really
them out
is.
door knocking. We go to apartment complexes and teach renters how to be able to purchase and own their own home. And you got to. You can't just teach someone how to do it and high five them,
team. Oh,
right?
it just disappeared.
You gotta teach them and then go do it with them, right? Because that
Very
overcomes
few
the fear.
owners do that. Oh my!
I've
In
never
fact, you're the
heard of
only
that.
one.
I've never heard of it.
We do that. We have a custom graphic design artist. This guy is amazing. He designs all their graphics, because most realtors nowadays, listen, they don't know graphic design. And if they don't know how to do it and they're not working for a company that has somebody on staff, who does it end up costing? It costs the client. The client who's trying to sell their house doesn't get their house marketed.
Right.
We hired a full-time graphic design artist to create all the marketing for the agents. So when they're marketing properties, we know they're getting marketed professionally. I'm going up against some of the giants in the industry. The only way I can compete with these guys is to outflank them.
Right.
The technology, cutting edge. We make sure that all the agents, they're active on social media. We make sure that even if they don't know how to work social media, we hire them a one-on-one coach to make sure that these guys are getting promoted on Twitter, Pinterest, Facebook, LinkedIn, all of these sites, and they don't have to be the expert. We want our agents to go out and meet people. Talk to people, change people's lives. We'll do all the other back-end work for you. Just go out there and help people. That's what it counts.
Yeah.
And then, you know, leads, giving them leads. These guys, a lot of them, you got to give them a leg up. Not a handout, but a hand up.
That's right.
Give them some leads so these guys feel like they got something and they feel like they're getting a piece of some sort of business to get that start. And then it's culture. I mean, Michael, you've seen what we do with our agents.
Tell them a little about, we're running out of time, but tell them about your recent trip to Joshua House.
Oh my gosh,
I mean,
our company sponsors an orphanage. I can't have any kids of my own, so I always wanted to be a dad. That's the only thing I don't have in my life that I wish I had. So my company sponsors the Joshua House. This is an orphanage in Lutz. They have anywhere from 22 to 30 kids, aging from 4 years old up to 17 years old. Well, we did a fundraiser, and we took all the kids and 11 chaperones to Universal Studios, and it was pretty awesome. There were 46, 47 of us. It was a costly day, but it was a lot of fun. I am so thankful. I got the kid who did not want to go on any rides. He kept going, Mr. Johnny, I don't want to go on any rides. I would go, that's okay, little Ken. We're not going to go on any rides. My wife said I was so thrilled to find little Ken. So, because I didn't want to go on any of the rides. You know, but we get involved with the kids of the Joshua House. We do family fun nights. Last month,
we've been at a few of them. They're just incredible.
We did family fun night at the bowling alley. We had like 120 agents and their families there.
You have a Latin dance one coming up.
That's this one.
That's fun.
It's in celebration of Cinco de Mayo, right?
Right.
So this month we have a Latin dance party. We hired ballroom dance instructors to give lessons to not only our agents but their families too. Come out, check us out. If you're thinking about a career in real estate or you're already in and you just want to see how realtors who are positive live, come and check us out.
We got a little less than 2 minutes, so in a minute, I want it's just incredible that you're inviting people that want to do that. But I also, let's face it.
I'm Italian. We'll cook for you when you come.
Sorry, we'll cook for you.
And he does.
I also want you to know, though, that I want the public to know that when I go to these sales meetings and involved in a line right realty, yes, there's beginners there,
Sure.
but there's also staggering seasoned veterans
Oh my gosh.
leaving some of these big boys to come to you. And it's not for 100% because they're getting 100%.
That's right.
They're those 5 things that you mentioned.
They're
I've
looking for
never seen
leadership.
anybody offer it
They're
as
looking for
your
leadership.
organization
They're
does.
looking for leadership and support. They want to know that someone's got their back and someone's going to be there for them. That's
Yeah,
really at
and
the
you
end
do
of the day.
all the time.
So
Thank you for being here, my friend.
Thank you,
Always
brother.
great to see you.
thank you. No, mwah.
All right, I'll kiss you later.
That's okay. She's prettier than you.
I felt terrible for
She
you
makes
tonight.
him look good,
I
don't you
felt.
think?
Oh, well, that yeah. I felt terrible.
I'm just here to.
No, you're not. Nada is a 13-year veteran financial advisor
And a licensed realtor.
Licensed realtor.
Yeah.
3 to 5 years of deep Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA experience. Bilingual.
Yep.
It's hard enough for her to get a word in when it's just me. I
my
bring on
God.
somebody like you. She's sitting here going, I need to slap one of
And the
these two.
thing is I'm pretty loud
Yeah.
myself.
Really, I've never.
Yeah, but
noticed
we
that.
get diarrhea of the mouth.
Yeah, it just doesn't stop. It just doesn't stop. Okay, we got 20 seconds left. We have some incredible guests coming on in the rest of May. Really some good stuff. Next week, we're going to be talking with one of the largest or the largest wholesale reverse mortgage company in the country.
Wow.
With 10 seconds left. The week after, we're coming on with Medicare Nation, a national expert for Medicare. 2 seconds. Love you all. See you next week